Well, here we are back in my man cave. This is where I do my painting, and this is one I just recently finished. I've got some ideas to do a little more touch up on that to finish it up. But I'll go from gardening to painting to Bible study to knife throwing to fishing with the kids to taking a nap. So I'll do a whole lot of different things in one day's time. So we're going to answer your questions. And the point we're making here is that, let me get my chart here. This is a painting I did on the book of Revelation. And so it covers the entire 7 years. This is the book of Revelation from beginning to end. This is the 7-year period. Now these events, as they are painted as they occur in the book of Revelation, in other words, you have verse 6:2, 6:3, 6:5, so forth, takes you all the way through verse by verse. These events don't actually happen in exactly this order. There are 4 times in the book of Revelation that the second coming takes place. Just like there are 4 Gospels, there are 4 accounts of the tribulation. The 7 seals takes you through the entire 7 years. But the 7 trumpets take you through the latter part of the seals. And then the 7 vials are just the last few months of the tribulation. So I'm thinking about painting a picture where these overlap, where you can see the actual chronological order of events. John sees them revealed to him in greater, increasing detail. You have the second coming here. You have the second coming again here. And then you have it here, and you have it here at the end of the tribulation. And it gets more detailed each time. So what we're talking about is, how do we know that the church does not go through these 7 horrible years of the Great Tribulation? How do we know that? Many different ways, and I'm going to show you many different ways, but what we're dealing with here is the fact that the first 3 chapters of Revelation are about the church. John is taken up to heaven in chapter 4, verse 1, and that is the rapture. After that, only Israel appears on the earth, and the church always appears in heaven. So Israel and unsaved nations are on the earth during the 7 years, this entire time period. And the church is always in heaven during that time period. So that's absolute proof as far as I'm concerned. That stands alone as sufficient proof that the church is not here during the tribulation. There are many more proofs, but that is one of them. Now, in chapter 12 of Revelation, what I'm doing is showing you passages that where the focus of the book of the tribulation is Israel, not the church. And he said, there appeared a great wonder in heaven. This is a vision that John has. It's something he sees when he's caught up. A great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon. Genesis 37:9 reveals that woman and the stars represent Israel and the 12 tribes. And moon, and under her feet and head crowned 12 stars. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. And she, being with child, cried, travailed in birth. Now that child is Jesus Christ being born to the nation of Israel. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. We'll deal with those 7s another time. And it drew the third part of the stars of heaven. That's the angels that fell. And the beast, the dragon, stood by ready to devour her child as soon as it was born. So you read about that in the Gospels, where Herod wanted to kill all the babies, had all the babies killed to try to kill Jesus Christ. So this is an overview, a summary of biblical events. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. That's Old Testament prophecy. We know that's Jesus. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. And that's after his death, burial, and resurrection. So here's a quick summary. And then go back to Psalm 2, 7 through 9 and get some light on that. And the woman fled into the wilderness. Now that's Israel, where she had a place prepared of God. There are many prophecies in the Old Testament that some other time we might deal with it, that point to Israel fleeing into the wilderness to survive this mark of the beast and the Antichrist cutting off people's heads. Woman fled into the wilderness, and she had a place prepared of God that he should feed her there 1,260 days. That's 3.5 years of the latter part of this great tribulation. The Jews, Jesus said, when you hear about the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, and you're on your housetop, don't come down into the house to take anything with you. Flee into the wilderness. He said, when you're in the field, flee. Don't go back. Don't go back to get anything. Just take off running south. Now, I've been in that wilderness, and believe me, you can get lost down in there. That's an awful, inhospitable looking place. So he said, that's where you should flee, because I have prepared a place for you down there. God is going to feed the nation of Israel, the Jews, with manna from heaven and water out of the rock, just like he did in the wilderness, and preserve them for 3.5 years so they won't have to take the mark of the beast, and then will be left alive so they can go into the kingdom of heaven, the millennial kingdom upon the earth, in natural bodies. They're not necessarily saved, but they just survive this tribulation period and go into the kingdom of heaven, 1,000-year reign on the earth, where then many of them will be born again as they see the Lord Jesus Christ. Some won't, but many of them will be. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in them. I've got that painted right here, this war in heaven. You see Michael stabbing one of the heads of the dragons, and the angels fighting each other in the heavenlies up here. And the dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil, Satan, was cast out into the world, was cast out into the earth, and the angels were cast out with him. And I heard a voice saying, now has come salvation, strength, and they overcame him, Satan, these people on earth, these that fled, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. So the people who refuse the mark of the beast will be decapitated. So salvation in this period of time, not necessarily not born again salvation, but to be saved from the wrath and endure to the end, and to be delivered from this, you have to refuse to take the mark and have your head cut off. Those people have their head cut off. There will be favor from God for their rejecting the mark of the beast. Now, we read on, Satan, he said, is furious because he knows he's got a short time. He knows he can read the Bible. He knows that it's about to go down really bad for him. And when the dragon saw he was cast out into the earth, which persecuted the woman who brought forth a man-child, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she should fly into the wilderness to a place where she is nourished for a time, times and a half time, that's 3.5 years, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent was cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. What's interesting is the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea, which is there in the wilderness, is a little over 1/4 mile below sea level. That means if you go south there about an 1.5 hour drive, or less than that, you come to the Red Sea, which Jews have considered cutting a canal backwards into the Dead Sea to revitalize it. They had a discussion with Jordan and talked about doing it, but have not yet done so. The Sea of Galilee is also below sea level, but it's quite a bit higher than the Dead Sea. So the area surrounding the Dead Sea there immediately is below sea level. So if the Jews flee into that area, there's a couple really nice springs down there that provide a tremendous amount of water. I've been down there and walked around in those springs. Fascinating, beautiful place. He said, the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood, that after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. So Antichrist and Satan do something to flood that wilderness where the Jews are hiding out. I suspect they dig that canal and open it up and flood that area, which would raise it over, water would come up over 1/4 mile in that wilderness. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God. The salvation, it will be different during the tribulation. there will be a combination of the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Jews will be required to keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So Christ testifies on their behalf, and they have both the testimony of Jesus and they keep the commandments, and that constitutes their salvation when they flee into that wilderness down there. Now, that was a really quick view of this 12th chapter, but I want to point out something. This is all about the Jews. It's all about a small piece of geography. This has nothing to do with the greater nations of the earth. This is just Israel. The book of Revelation during this time is mainly about Israel. The nations of the earth are just backdrops for what God is doing through the Jews.